Good morning, welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm Coach David Wells. Today, by request, we're going to go over the Blue Flame pitching machine by Louisville Slugger. Kind of quick overview, how to get it set up, how to use it to help your kids with batting practice and your machine pitch games to get accurate, consistent throws down the middle as much as possible. We'll see you in a second. Okay, so most common thing that we have with these machines is one, style of the machine, settings on where to throw it, and how to get it to throw its most consistent accuracy. In our league, we try and get a consistent average of about 38 to 40 miles an hour. Little League International says that 36 to 38. Most leagues are trying to go above that. If you're in travel ball, they're throwing upper mid 40s, even hotter. Basic settings on the machine, we'll start right there. Number one, Little League standard, the way we're using it, back of the machine 46 feet from the tip of home plate. Good reference point is if you're on a Little League field, if you can set that back foot on the mound, works great. Anytime there's a hole in front of the mound, if you set the back foot in, it kind of puts the machine at an awkward angle and it's going to launch them high. I usually try and just back it up just a hair, get the back foot where it's resting on something firmly. If you don't have a good mound, or if you're on a field that's different sizes where you're in between mounds, like sometimes you go on softball fields, short mound, long mound, I actually made a little wood plank with spikes that I can drive in the ground to simulate the mound. I carry it with me. I'll put it in there. Kind of helps get the thing set. Biggest issue is over the course of a game, the coaches putting their foot on the spring over and over again. That can push down into soft clay and it throws the machine off. So first thing is getting it set. Second thing, good spikes in the front. I got these driven into the ground. If you got a hard clay field, I usually recommend a rubber mallet. That way you can really get these driving in. Once you get those in the ground, it keeps the front of the machine spiked in. The spikes are about that long. Really keeps it secure. Once you get everything in the ground good, then it's a matter of loading the machine. By the standards we're using, we have 3 adjustments that are main adjustments that once they're set, you do not have to touch. And that's one right here. And on the other side over here, it's numbered 1 through 5. And what that does, it raises and lowers the pitch release lever. We're set on a level 4 right now. So that's for level 4. The settings I'm gonna give you based off your machine and then how new your spring is and everything else will put you in that 36 to 40 mile an hour range. Each machine's gonna throw slightly different. Spring tension, how many pitches are on each spring, that all makes a difference on how hard the machine throws. So, second setting is on the arm right here. Raise pitch, lower pitch. So 1 through 5, I'm set at a 3. And then finally the power lever down here that the spring's attached to, I'm set at a 6. Most leagues run between 5 to 9, depending on which league you're in for the power setting. That gives you the different, that really is what the main thing for getting that velocity, because it puts the tension on the spring. When getting set up, we always tell our kids the main priority, we don't want the kids touching the machine, and never at any point once that spring is loaded do we want a kid walking in front of the machine. Just because once the ball's loaded on there and those things throw 38, 40 miles an hour, you don't want a kid to walk in front and then another kid bump the handle and that launches at them at a short distance. Because even if the ball doesn't hurt, this lever coming around will slap them, leave a pretty good mark, hurt a kid. So once we get to this point, now it's about the safety. Paying attention to your surroundings as a coach, watching where the kids are. As you pull the handle back, you got the spring load coming down, and then you let that rest on there. It's just a simple rest lever. The final adjustment machine is what they call the micro adjuster, and that's the ones we make on the fly during games. Little League standard says they want logo side up on the ball, so you find your logo on the ball, and I'm gonna try and put that pin right there on the ball, dead center. If the machine is throwing really low, if you simply rotate the ball just a little bit, where that pin hits, it's just like throwing a curveball, throwing anything else. However that machine is resting on these laces will adjust the flight of the ball, up, down, left and right. You can actually make curveballs and everything else. So you want to start out, logo up, dead center. If you get logo up, dead center, take your time, get it set. Once it's set, the machine is loaded. Now when we're pitching our kids, we usually just use a hand up and go 3, 2, and on 1, we kind of point to the ball have a momentary lapse just to let them focus, and then release. So it's depress the spring. That loads all the tension on the spring. This thing is live and ready to go. Do not press your spring until you're ready to throw the ball, because same thing, if you bump the handle, the ball is going. So if the catcher isn't ready, the batter isn't ready, that's where you have to be cautious of what's going on. So once you get it ready, I'm gonna set that ball down. We go our kids to 3, 2, 1, pull. That one's down the middle. If you have to adjust it inside or outside, there's a knob right here. I keep mine fairly good tension. You can slide it in or out. Just simply slide in the back of the machine, and that comes to where having it on the mound really helps out a lot. So you can slide it a little bit back and forth. That one came in a touch high. So to lower the ball, I simply want to take the screw on my fingers and we'll turn it inward. And I just usually a quarter turn, half a turn at a time is the most you want to do. I'm going to reline the ball up. Give the kid the 3, 2, 1. And that was on the inside corner, but a perfect height. So all I know is I need to bump it just a hair and get it dialed in. Pre-game, we try and get it dialed in. We want it throwing, since we got lefties and righties on our team, we want to throw them pretty much down the center. We have a couple kids that we know prefer in or out, and we might make a slight adjustment. We're talking, if you move the back of it a 1/4 inch, you're talking 2 or 3 inches by the time the ball gets to travel the ball at home plate. So we always err on the side of caution of mowing players. I've had players step out of the box, we throw an extra pitch. They only get 5 pitches in our league. We'll let them waste a pitch to make sure the machine's throwing accurate, because sometimes the machine gets off. When it sits out in the sun, if the rain comes, clouds change weather, it's metal. Metal heats, contracts, expands. It will throw the machine off. The ball, if the ball has blemishes or anything else, let's see, if I look at my bucket here, yeah, there's one. This is a Rollins Little League ball, very pronounced laces. This is a Diamond League ball, smoother laces. These balls are going to come off the machine slightly different. Subtle difference in the way the balls are made. That'll adjust the way the machine throws. So be careful when you're loading your machine for your kids. Consistency of the ball you're throwing will be consistency of the pitches you're throwing. And just for another example of putting the ball on the machine and showing it different, this pitch should be lined down the middle. If I line it right up on the pin, it should throw down the middle. I'm going to rotate the ball, and this ball will actually rise as it goes to home plate. So if I had that's my normal setting, if I simply rotate that ball, I put my finger under there and I feel when the laces are touching it. And as I throw this one, 3, 2, 1. Actually, that one went perfect down the middle for me because I made my adjustment again, but let me reset it. I couldn't have thrown it that perfect if I'd have tried. So I'm just gonna switch my line up on the machine. I rotated my ball to a different line. 3, 2, 1. And that ball went from about this height on me up to about this height on me, just by simply the rotation of the ball. So consistency on where you line the ball up, making sure kids aren't bumping. If a kid runs and bumps the machine, throw a couple pitches, line it up. But that's just a basic overview. This is the Blue Flame Ultimate Pitching Machine by Louisville. I've used it for my team all season. This machine is several years old. Every year, put a new spring on it, check all the nuts and bolts. You got all these, make sure everything's tight and snug. As long as you go through, do your maintenance, these machines last a long time. And that's pretty much it. So a quick overview of the machine. Thanks for the comments, thanks for the questions. Love hearing from you, and we will see you on the next video.